Hey everybody, welcome to the Ronline Report. We have an incredible guest today. If you follow Pro Women's Bikini, you know this woman is the top bikini competitor in the world for the last 2 years. The two-time Bikini Olympia champ. She's also the two-time Bikini International champ at the Arnold Classic, Ohio. And this is Angelica Teixeira. Did I say it right?
Yeah, you got it.
I practiced that like 10 times before we started talking. Thank you so much for being here, Angelica.
Thank you so much for having me, Ron. You know, it's a pleasure to be like muscular development. You know, like since the beginning, I have been seeing my pictures on the muscular development, and it's an honor to be on the program today.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much. You have a great story. I always like when people have great stories. So you actually got interested in fitness when you were very, very young. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, so I started going I did the dancing class since like a kid. So I think I was born dancing. I love dancing. So I did dancing class like jazz for 8 years. But when I was 14, I was like, you know what? I need to build muscle. I need to have more body. I was too skinny. And in Brazil, you always watch on TV like all the girls with nice body, you know, so many curves. And I was like, oh no, I want to look like that. So when I was 14 years old, I went to the gym and I'm like, oh, I want to train. I want to lift the weights. I need to start working out. And they're like, oh, you can't go to the weights room. You can do like class. And I'm like, oh no, please, because they just allow you to do to join the gym for workout, like for lifting weights when you're 18.
18?
Yeah, 18. So now I think it changed a little bit, but before I was 18. Yeah. So I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? So I started class, a lot of like ankle weights and dumbbells. And I was always looking to the weight rooms and like, oh my God, I can't wait. So once I turned 18, I joined them and I started lifting weights and I never stopped ever since.
Now, were you also lifting weights at home before that?
At home, yes. I always like doing something, you know, picking up chairs and, you know, like, yes.
Yeah. So, how did you know how to train, how to do things right? Did you look on the internet, magazines? You know, where did you get your education on all that when you were young?
So when I started lifting weights, was also when I started dating my husband. I was 18 years old when we started dating. And he gave me Arnold Schwarzenegger book.
Oh, wow.
To teach me, you know, how to do all the movements.
The big book,
you know?
the encyclopedia?
Yes.
Wow.
And I was studying that book and like, oh my God. So that's how like Arnold Schwarzenegger became like inspiration for me. Yeah. And I learned like a lot with his book and just like going to the gym. And in Brazil, it's good because even if you don't have a personal trainer, every gym has an instructor. If you're there like training, you're going to have someone to help you. So also like, you know, because in Brazil, they're all very professional in the fitness. Yeah. So I had always someone to give me like a workout plan, you know, in the gym. And, but for sure, the Arnold Schwarzenegger book was like something that really helped me with my form and everything.
So you've been with your husband since you were how old? Like 15 or 16?
18.
18, wow. Still, that's impressive.
Yes. It's been 17 years now.
Wow, okay, congratulations. So,
thank you.
Is that your middle name, the Hoffman? Is that his name?
No, Teixeira.
Teixeira.
Teixeira, yes.
What was your name before?
Hoffman.
Hoffman, that's like a German name.
I always use Hoffman. Hoffman is my middle name. My last name was Ribeiro.
Ribeiro, yeah.
It's another Portuguese name, yeah. But I was always known as Angelica Hoffman. That's how my sisters are known, and you know, like all my family's like Hoffman. So once I got married, I became like Teixeira.
Because you just add names on and on and on, like 4 or 5 names in a row.
Oh, don't ask me my whole name, no, please.
I've known some Brazilians, I've known some Mexicans with like 5, 6 or more names.
Oh my God, yes. But you Spanish family too, right?
Well, my wife's Cuban, but they don't add on all these names. They just switch the names, yeah.
I think it's a Brazilian thing.
They definitely do that. Yeah, that's interesting that you note that in Brazil, because you know in the USA, personal trainers, they're not all created equal. Some of them are very well educated with college degrees, like yourself, and some of them just took a test online in 20 minutes, and they get a little, you know.
I
But
know.
in Brazil, it's very, very formal. You have to have a college degree, right?
That's right. That's right. I went to college for 4 years to become a trainer. So when you're a trainer, you know, like in college, we go to the gyms, we see everything like in person. We have to be there and work like for free for, I think I did 6 months like
Wow.
for free, just like, you know, working and helping everybody and learning.
Like an
So
intern.
once you become a trainer, once you really start working, you know everything. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
expert. So
So,
I think it's really good. So once I came to US, I just took a test, the online test. It was
okay.
so easy. Like with 1 week, I got my certification.
But you have a degree in physical education from college? Yeah.
Yes, that's
Okay.
right. Physical
So yeah,
education.
you know, not all these people taking online tests here can say that. I'll tell you that right now. Um,
Yeah, so
so
proud of that. Yeah.
how did you and your husband decide 10 years ago to come to America? Whose idea was it, and why did you decide to leave Brazil?
So before I was in college, and my husband was working for a company in Brazil that was linked to US because it's like teaching cops and like the army and anything related to military, you know, like handcuff techniques, immobilization, all based on martial arts.
Oh wow.
So yeah, he was already like traveling the whole Brazil, you know, teaching the whole Brazil, and so they would always like they had this company had like they called SWAT in Brazil,
Hmm.
where the cops from Texas went to Brazil from SWAT,
Yeah.
and they were teaching cops in Brazil, and my husband was always, you know, doing the class with them, and once a year they send like everybody that worked for the company to Texas
Oh,
for the TTPOA. That's how they call who's in the police. They will know the TTPOA in Texas. So he always would come to US once a year for that for the class, and so his company decided to put a franchise in US. So they brought my husband here, but I was still in college, so I couldn't come together. And I was like finishing college 1 more year, so we stayed like 1.5 years apart.
okay.
Like, yeah, he came first, and he was working with the police and also teaching jiu-jitsu and doing more jobs because when you come to US, you think like, oh, it's gonna be easy, you know? I mean, life is easy in US, the
Of
American
course.
dream. But then you figure out like, oh my God, yeah, you really gotta work because it's not that easy as we think when we live like in you know, in other country. But once I finished my college, we got married. It's a funny story because for me to apply to my visa, because he had a work visa.
Mhm.
So for me to apply for my visa, we were already like engaged, but we were not married. He went to Brazil, and we went like to get married. Like, oh, let's get married so you can apply for your visa,
Yeah.
and that's it. So he went to Brazil with like 15 days vacation, and we went to a place. Oh, let's get married, and then they're like, oh, in Brazil it takes a while. It's not like this. He's like,
Really?
no, but please, we need this like, you know, as soon as possible so she can apply for the visa and go to US.
Yeah.
So they're like, no, what you can do a document so someone that you trust can come and sign for you on your wedding. I'm like, oh my God. So that's what he did. He gave like all the power for his daddy to go and sign for him. And the day of a wedding, my husband wasn't there, you know, like
What?
my father-in-law signed, and then he was like, he looked at me like, I don't know if I'll sign. I don't know. I'm like, you better sign this right now. Yeah, funny story. So
Wait,
that's how, and then I
wait a
got
minute.
my
The day of your
visa.
wedding, your husband wasn't there?
He wasn't there, yeah.
So how'd you get married?
Huh?
How did you marry him if he wasn't there?
So yeah, so he gave the power, like a document for his daddy to sign for
God,
him. That's funny, I know.
it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Oh
In
my
Brazil, we
gosh.
have a name for that, but I don't know the name here.
It's okay. But wow,
Yeah.
so it takes a long time for the process of getting a marriage license approved and all that down there?
I think it's 3 months.
Wow.
Yeah.
Geez, you can go to Vegas here and in 3 minutes you can be married,
I know, yeah.
which is
Like in
ridiculous.
Vegas, right? You can get it right away,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
So you went to Texas. You lived in Texas first, right?
Yeah, so I went to Texas, and I remember his friends because two of his friends, you know, that's from the SWAT, they came for, because after that he came in this was in October.
Yeah.
His daddy signed, and then in January he came, and we did a little, like, you know, ceremony on his house, like just for family.
Yeah.
And he brought two of his friends from the SWAT, and they were like, oh, Angelica, you're gonna be like, because you already teach the class, you're such, you know, like a beast in the gym, you know, everybody loves your class, because I used to do class and everybody loved my fitness class, my group class. And they're like, oh, you're gonna be so successful in US, you're gonna get there, you're gonna start doing class, you're gonna have personal training clients, you're gonna make so much money. I'm like, oh wow, yes. So I was so excited. So I went to Texas. I got in Texas, and I'm like, yeah, now it's time, you know, like, be a success. And then I'm like, you know, like, leaving the house, and the neighbor's like, hi, how are you? I'm like, hi, I'm fine. How are you? My English, like, no English at all.
Wow.
And then they like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm like, oh, you know, so I start like, oh my God, how I'm going to, you know, be a trainer? How I'm gonna do like fitness class if I don't speak the language, you know?
Yeah.
Because I never had time to learn, and I never thought about like the idea of coming, you know, like in living US. And it's funny because I was always like, I always thought that it's funny because I never spoke, you know, about this in any interview. I always thought that I would never learn English because when I started, like, you know, like high school,
yeah.
I went to a very fancy school in my city, but before I was in a public school. But these people, you know, all my the other kids, you know, that were in my class, they were like there forever, and they always did like English class besides the school.
Yeah.
So the public school that I was never taught me English. So once I got there, I was like, oh, maybe now I'll finally learn English because they have English school. So I was all excited. So the first class, I was like, yeah, so excited to learn English. But the teacher was like already teaching on the level of everybody that had like English class, you know, outside the school.
Yeah.
And I was like, and she's like, the book. And I'm like, I don't even know what book means. And she's trying to teach the English, like with the word book. And I'm like, what is that? Yeah. And then I raised my hand. I'm like, what that means? Like, what is book? And she's like, you don't know what book means? And I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. No, I don't. And, you know, you're teaching everything based on book. And you're saying that word so many times.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I was so like, oh my God, because she did a face and she's like, and then all the class laughed and I was like, wow. And I was like, you know what? I'm not going to learn English. So I was, you know, like, I'm never going to learn English.
Yeah, bad experience.
Bad experience. So when my husband said, you know what, baby, we're going to move to US. I'm like, how, baby? I never learn English. I can never learn English because, you know, I had a bad experience. He's like, you're going to learn. I'm like, oh my God, it's going to be a challenge.
No, he spoke English, right?
When he first started working with the police in Texas, he didn't.
Oh, okay.
When they first started sending him, and then he started like studying by himself, you know, those classes that you
Rosetta Stone.
Yes, those, yeah. So he started, you know, doing that and learning and speaking, you know, like to people. So every time he came to US, he'd spend like a month. So he started learning. And I think when you want to learn, you really want to, you start learning. Yeah. And once you build the basic, it's easier to learn the rest. Because, and then I got to Texas and I was like, oh my God, now what I do, you know? So it was really hard because I could never do personal training in Texas. I could never do fitness class. I had to start like from the bottom. Like I just finished my college and I was like, first, you know, like in everything in my college. So the college said, oh, you want to stay here and do we say post-graduation and do masters, and you can be a teacher, you know, for us. And I was like, no, you know what? The love is calling me.
Yeah.
Love is calling me, and I need to go to Texas. So they were like, oh, wow. So I just finished college, and I came to US. We started like all over, you know? So yeah, it wasn't easy,
Okay,
but all worth it.
I remember the interview that you gave the morning after you won your second title, the Sunday morning where they had you and all the other champions there. You talked about the only job you could get when you first came to the U.S. was bagging groceries because you didn't speak any English.
That's right.
And I mean,
That's right.
that must have been tough for you you have a college degree and you're a great personal trainer, but you can't do it yet. So it had to be tough to have to do that for a while.
It was tough, but I don't know why I was so thankful, so grateful because I was learning English. So I was like, you know what, I can't do what I love to do, but I know, I knew I would be back to what I love to do, after. But I was like, I'm just gonna take this moment as like English school, because. So I started working, and I know it was a simple job, and, some people would be ashamed to do that job, but not for me. I was, so happy and meeting people, and everybody in the supermarket was so, like, trying to help me, They were like, oh, my God, because in Texas, they are so nice, so nice. They were everybody was like, Angel, they call me Angel. Angel, you can do it. Are you learning yet? So, like they were always helping me. If I didn't know how to say a word, I would, just do the movement, and they would guess. And with like 1 month working in the supermarket, I was already speaking a little bit. And with 3 months, I was already, I'm like, oh, wow. And everybody, like, the excitement of learning something every day, like it's addicting. It's addicting when you're like, I'm still learning. Like when I talk to you like this, you say a word, I'm like, oh, my brain's already like, always like set up to learn because English is still not my first language. It's still not easy, for me. I'm always learning, still learning. And so it was super exciting for me, to be living like everything new. So I was like, it's okay if I'm not doing what I love because this is so exciting. With 3 months, I was already like speaking, and they were like, congratulations, oh my God, now you can speak. Like my husband's friends, they would be like, wow, Angelica, you're getting better, you're getting better. So that was exciting for me.
I read that you also watched a lot of television with the subtitles on, and that helped you learn too. Did you have any certain shows that you like to watch that helped you learn?
Oh, when I first got to Texas, I could watch like any show because I would just like not understand anything. But I was just like put on TV, and the commercials helped me a lot because I couldn't understand better. And also I would put like anything, like a movie, anything that was going on TV. I would just be there and get my dictionary, and be stopping the TV all the time and like, wow, what they mean, But once I learned a little bit, I started watching Breaking Bad.
Breaking Bad
show, and I learned a lot from the show, like just watching was fun. And also Dexter,
great, another great show.
I love those shows,
Terrible
so,
ending.
yes.
You must have hated the ending of that show, though, the way it all ended.
Oh, Dexter?
Yeah.
Oh.
Her sister died, and then he goes off.
I'm still waiting for the next one that he'll come back and be alive because I'm like, what happened? No, he needs to come back. I'm so upset about the end of the show.
Faked his own death. He's never coming back. So how did you guys end up you're in New Jersey now, right?
Yes, now in New Jersey because so we were in Texas, everything started like to work out, and but then was that time in US that all the economy went down. I think it was 2000. You remember?
Oh yeah, everybody remembers. Yeah.
I think it was 2009.
2009, 2010 when the housing market crashed.
Yes. So I had a job, my husband had a job too, but we start like, it started like to get worse. We start to get like less money. And we start like to see like, like going on McDonald's in a line for people to get a job on McDonald's and all Americans, and I was like, oh my God, you know what? like, we have a good life in Brazil. It's not like we need to live here. And I was like, baby, if you start like, you know, like, because we're making less money, and if the things start getting worse and worse and worse, there's no reason to live here, you know, because it's supposed for us to have a better life. And we can have a good life in Brazil because we have a good family, we had jobs, you know. I had a degree, I had, you know, like, good future. So I was like, you know, I love living here, but if it's like to be struggling, I'm ready to go back to Brazil. So that's what we did. We went back to Brazil. In 2009. So I was in Texas for 1 year. I went back to Brazil. But once I got in Brazil, I was already addicted to this, you know, to learning, like to learning something new every day. And I was in Brazil for almost a year, and I couldn't. I was like, you know, everything was so boring. I was like, oh, this is boring. I'm not learning, you know. And I was like, no, I'm gonna try to keep like learning English, because I'm gonna keep like watching movies in English. But life changed, and you know, you surround yourself with like all Brazilians, and I wasn't, you know, I was forgetting my English. I was like, no. I thought I would never learn English. Now I'm going to give up. No. So I told him, I'm like, you know what, let's go back. That's when, because his company that teaches the police was not giving him too much work, you know, like, oh, there's one class a month. So he was making like very little money, you know, with the company that brought him to US. So he had to do other kind of jobs like construction, you know, he had to jump and do whatever it takes, you know. So we were like, you know what, let's go back to US, let's try somewhere else, because I know New Jersey, you know, like a lot of people, you know, the economy is a little faster here. So I had a friend here, and you know, and him too. And we decided to come, and we came. I got a job as a waitress, you know, and I was like, you know what, let's start all over again. And he got a job as construction, and start from the bottom, you know, again. But we were very addicted to this, you know, like, because learning, you know, just like being able to get out the house, and anything like simple things that happen is a learning experience, and your brain's always like on, you know. So I was like, okay, so I got a job as a waitress, and I went to a gym. I was like, you know what, I'm going to step it up, and I'm going to see if I can get a job. I remember I was shaking. I was like, trying to get a job in the gym. I was like, what can, you know, I have nothing to lose. At least in New Jersey, I knew more Brazilians, and I knew, like, if I got a class, like, at least would be one Brazilian there that if I don't know how to say something, I'll be like, hey, can you help me? How do I say this, you know? And my English was better at that time already, because after 1 year living in Texas. So that's when, you know, I got an interview at the gym, and they liked me. They're like, oh, you're very sincere, you know, like, I see your English is not like 100%, but you can speak. Let's try. Let's make a, you know, a trial. And like, oh, what's the kind of class? We explain how I do my class. And they're like, I don't know if it's going to work here, you know, because we do a little different. But you can try, you know, I don't promise. So first week, like first day, just a few people. And then second class, a little more people. And then second week, my class was full. Third week, like with a month, they had to give the names, because, you know, like, the class was packed. We're like, oh my God, I don't know how you do it, but they love your class.
Was it like Zumba, or is it weights and cardio, or what was it?
I was always doing like 20 minutes warm up, and I always changed the warm up. One day I used to do just like aerobics. Next class, was always a surprise. They never knew like what the warm up would be. Next class would be like a step class. And then next class, I'll do like trampoline, you know, the trampoline, jumping. So I'll do like 20 minutes trampoline. Next class, I'll just throw at them like a Brazilian dance. They're like, oh, no, but we don't like to dance Brazilian. No, it's too much. I'm like, relax and let's do it. So it's like Zumba, but a little more, you know, dance, but I would explain step by step, and they love it. And 40 minutes of like weights, you know, like dumbbells, and very, very tough, like tough on them, you know, like, let's do it, you can do it. And they're like, wow, I love it. Like, no, 35 minutes and 5 minutes relax and, you know, like cool down. So they love it. And then I started like growing my name. You know, then I left the restaurant and I was just in the gyms because I got more class.
Yeah.
And then I got like personal training sessions. And I was just, then when I saw like, oh my God, I'm doing this full time now, you know? So it takes time, you know, it's not easy when we just, you know, like migrate to another country. It's always not easy, you know? But when I saw, I was like, okay, now I do just what I love.
Yeah, I'm just going to throw this comment. You know, there's been a lot of anti-immigration and anti-immigrant sentiment in this country over the past couple of years, but you know, hearing all this makes you realize there's the GAT, everybody, GAT Sports, but
the
so
best.
Get that in there. But you know, immigrants work so much harder, and they just do. You know, immigrants will do whatever it takes. They'll whatever job they need to take, and you know, Americans complain, but they won't even take most of these jobs. They're too lazy. So
Yeah.
just put that out there.
Yeah.
When did you get the idea to compete? How did that start?
So I was already, you know, like doing class and, you know, like with so many clients. And then with social media, with Instagram, you know, I made my Instagram and I started like following people, and I always like fitness. So I started following people that compete, and it was all new, you know, for the woman. And I was like, oh, wow, you know, like I really like the shape. I really like what they're doing. But I didn't understand anything about the sport, anything, like zero. I just liked the physique. And I was like, you know what? I want to learn the process, like, because I always had like a nice body, you know, a nice physique, but not near, you know, to be lean as stage ready. Right. So I was like, wow, what's the secret? There's a secret. I eat healthy, you know, we all think we eat right until we do a competition diet and we're like, oh, okay, now I know what's, you know, eating like right, weighting your food, you know, like have to measure everything. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to do just once to learn the process so I can help my clients and I can learn how to be in a better shape so I can, you know, like look even better. So I started getting ready, and my first competition, I did only 4 weeks prep. Wow. It's crazy, just 1 month prep.
Well, you were your own coach. You didn't have anybody coaching you, right?
I had a coach, but he's great, you know, he's very good. But I think he didn't understand my body well, and he chose the wrong physique for me, or the wrong division for me.
Where did you start with, figure?
Figure, oh, yes, okay. Yes. And I think he said, "Are you ready?" Because I was already like in a good shape when I started, so I got lean very fast. But I didn't go through that process of building muscle before. I had muscle. If you see my pictures when I post once in a while, you know, me doing figure, I had muscle, but for figure, I had to get like at least like 16 weeks prep to build some muscle, you know, to put on some size and then cut. So that's what I did. I did 4 weeks prep for figure, and decided to try it. And everybody was like, oh, you're going to win because you already look great. And oh my God, so I invite everybody for my first show. I had expectations. I always tell everybody, like, don't go to your first show with big expectations because you never know what's going to happen. It's a moment for you to experience something very new. You know, you never done anything like this in your life. So I had expectations because everybody that I said, oh, no, I'm going to compete, they're like, oh, you're going to win. You know, when you hear that and you kind of like put in your mind, you don't know anything about the sport. Yeah. And I didn't even know like what division I was going, you know, like, oh, what are you going to do? I'm like, oh, figure. And they're like, oh, okay. They look at me like, oh, okay. And then I invite everybody, all my, you know, the students that used to go to my class. Hey guys, I'm going to compete. I invite everyone. So all my clients went to watch me, all my family, you know, everybody, all my friends. And I played 16.
16.
16, yeah. Wow. It was the Atlantic States.
Wow.
It was still the Atlantic States. Now is in New Jersey, in Teaneck, but at that time was in New York City, Tribeca.
Tribeca Performing Arts Center.
Yes, I missed that stage. Yes, and so many memories. And I played 16, and I was so upset. I was supposed to do just one show, but I was like, you know what? Now it's a challenge. Now I want to place better. Because once I got there, like to compete, I was like, I asked my coach, I'm like, I saw the bikini girls. And I was like, huh, okay. Okay, I'm like, that's the girls I'm competing against. They like, and he's like, oh no, no, you're competing against those girls.
The
I'm
ones
like,
with the big shoulders and the big
yeah.
quads.
And I'm like, no, no. Are you sure? He's like, yeah. I'm like, but I look more like them. He's like, no, 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 you look more like them. I'm like, I don't think so. And then when I was on stage, I was like, try to flex. And I'm like, oh my God, they look into the side and they're all like, whoa.
I'm
like,
starting to question how good of a coach this guy really was. I'm sorry. If he threw you into
he was
figure.
very good. He didn't have in like much competitors. He was more like a lifestyle coach, and
Well, there you go. Yeah,
he's still very, very good. You know, like his transformations, like he knows how to get people in shape. But his wife was figure. I think that's why he thought like, oh, it'll be easy if she does figure too. You know.
Yeah.
So
you
yeah,
did, was that just
it wasn't
one?
for me.
You did figure just once? Was that it?
No, I still didn't, because that's one thing I regret, like not studying the sport before starting. I just jump in it, you know, like, I just want to be in shape and learn the process and get lean. That's it. I didn't study the sport and the divisions. Yeah. And then after that show, I decided to do like, I'm like, I'm going to do another one. And then I found out like a show in New Jersey. And I was like, okay, yeah, so it's a show like, right, you know, in 2 weeks, I'm going to do that show. I'm already in shape. So I still did figure, and then I started studying, and I was like, okay, this is bikini, you know. So I started watching and seeing the girls, you know, like, and kind of like showing more personality on stage. I'm like, you know what, I think this is what I like, and, you know, this is what I'm supposed to be doing because my body's more like for bikini. So on my second show, I went and I placed fifth. So I got better. I was happy. I was like, okay, I placed top 5. All right. I was very, very happy. But I was like, no, I still want to get even better. So I discovered bikini. And on my third show, I was like, you know what? I'm going to cross over. I'm going to do both. Let's see how I do. So I remember I got to a lady, you know, in Newark, New Jersey. And she used to do like Brazilian bikinis. And I told her, no, you need to make me a bikini for competition. She's like, but I never did. Like, I'm like, but hey, there's no secret. Just do a bikini and put some crystals on. That's it. So she did the bikini, and I did figure. I did well. I was called for first call out, and I was like, oh wow, it seems like, you know, you'll be better this time. And then I changed very fast and did bikini also, but I didn't know how to do the posing. I was just following the girls, you know, and like showing my personality. I'm like, oh, okay. I didn't know anything about the posing. I did my walk because based on everything I saw on YouTube. And then they called me for comparison. I was just following the other girls, you know, flexing my back. I'm like, oh no, I see the pictures today. I'm like, oh my God, what I was doing. Yeah. But I still play second on both, on figure and bikini. I was like, oh my God. I'm like, so now, you know, I get to choose what I'm doing. So I fell in love with bikini that day. I was like, this is what I love. Like, you know, being able to go on stage and kind of like show your personality, you know. I thought it was fun. And I saw like, you know what, I think I can have future doing this, like for bikini. So after that, I was like, figure was fun, you know. I love figure too. I love the shape and everything. But I was like, this is what I'm going to go to, you know, now, bikini. So I never stopped ever since, and now I'm here.
Because, you know, it's interesting. You know, I've seen a lot of people turn pro after only doing like one show. And you would think someone that rose to the level that you have, you're the best in the world, it would have been that easy for you, but it wasn't that easy for you. You did, I mean, how many shows did you do before you turned pro? It was 6
20.
or 10? 20 shows.
20 shows,
wow.
Yes. 20 shows with the NPC, yes. Wow. Because a lot of people, I think even you know, like, because after that, like, I got qualified for nationals. Yep. And I was like, okay, I got, you know, second place, I'm qualified. So I'm going to do the nationals end of the year. So I started getting ready for nationals. Yep. You know, all excited. Oh my God, you know, maybe I can get my pro card. I just started. This is amazing. Yeah. And then I was getting ready to go because this was already end of the year, all those shows that I was doing. Right. And then I was like, oh, hold on. Let me read the rules first, you know. So I entered on NPC News and I started reading. I don't know why, you know, it flashed in my mind that I should read the rules.
Sure.
No, and I was like, oh, hold on. They say here American passport, or I mean, you gotta be born in US or have an American passport. I don't have American passport. I had a green card. Yes, I'm. You know, I'm still not American citizen till now. In end of the year, I can apply. Like October, I can finally apply because I have 5 years green card already.
Okay.
But I was like, oh, hold on, I can't. I cannot do, you know, like the national show. So I was like, oh, what am I gonna do now? So someone told, you know, like talking to a few people in the industry, they like, Angelica, I heard of, you know, like a few competitors that winning like overalls, they will award the pro card by the country, you know. And I was like, oh, so maybe that's what I need to do. So I emailed the NPC, and I made President Emmanuel, and I asked, you know, like, oh, please, you know, I love this sport. I want to keep, you know, like progressing. And how I'm gonna get, you know, what's the way for me to get my pro card?
Yeah.
And they say, oh, you know, like, this is not like 100%, but like some athletes from Brazil or from other countries, you know, like after winning a few a few overalls, they applied and they gave them, you know, the pro card. So, and I was like, okay, but they didn't give me like 100%. But I was like, at least it's a hope. I'm not gonna give up. Here I go. So I got an off season, and when I started the next season in 2014, in my mind was just one goal, like get the overalls. That's it. Like work for your overalls and show them that you deserve to be a pro. So, you know, that was my goal. So the first show I did in the season was a show in Connecticut, the Montanari Bros. And I got the overall there, so it was my first overall. And then, you know, in 2014, I did 11 shows.
Wow.
Trying to get my overalls, yes. And I finished the year with 5?
Wow.
No, with four overalls. Yes, 4. But they said one didn't count. I don't know why. The Brooklyn Grand Prix, I think was because it was the first time they had the show. Wow. But I had 4, and they said like 3 or maybe 4. And then I applied. They're like, oh, no, we can't give it to you because you have 4, but 1 doesn't count because it's a new show. And I was like, okay. All the conversation with Brazil, because the good thing was that I always kept the NPC in the emails, you know, so they follow all my conversation with Brazil.
Right.
And they said, oh, no, but if you get like, you know, like 1 more, you know, like you can get it. And I was like, oh, okay, no need to say anything else. So it was Christmas, New Year's, I was off season again, and then I started the year with like, okay, let's keep that goal. 2 more, 1 more, let's do it. No, I needed 2 more. Oh, and I was like, oh my God. So my first show was the match that's gonna happen this weekend, this Saturday, tomorrow.
Right.
Yeah. So it was always my goal because they said you need to win like a big show. You know, like overall in a big show. And the big show was always New York show, right?
Yeah.
Like Atlantic State, Easterns, Metropolitans. So I went to that show like I was going to for my nationals, like 100% focus, you know, this is my national. So I went there and I won the overall. It was like, oh my God, I cried. It was like winning my pro card. Because I knew after that I could apply and they would say yes because I won a big show. And then after that one, I did back-to-back. I went to New Jersey and did the John Kemper and won the overall back-to-back, like 2 weeks, 2 overalls. And I was like, all right, I felt like a pro. I was like, now I'm a pro, you know? So I applied, I sent the letter to Brazil, all like, here we go. I'm like, okay, now I got 6 overalls. And what should I do now? Can you send my pro card? Yeah. They're like, oh, okay, now that you got 6 overalls, we just need you to come to Brazil and compete here at least once.
Oh my goodness.
And I was like, what? You didn't say this before. And they're like, no, because you need to come and compete in Brazil because we need to at least say that you competed once for Brazil for you to become a Brazilian pro. Right. And I was like, oh, that makes sense. And then they invited me to do the Arnold in Brazil. And I was like, oh my God, so exciting. Yeah, you know, like it's a pleasure. then after they invite me, they gave me some problems, say that I didn't qualify for the Arnold, because in Brazil you got to qualify to do the Arnold. And then, you know, thank God the NPC was seeing all the emails, and they email like Brazil saying like, hey, hold on. First you invite her. Now you say that she didn't qualify.
Yeah.
If you invite her, you know, she got to go and do it. And then they're like, oh, no, of course, it's a pleasure having you, you know, after the NPC step up for me.
Yeah.
And then I got in Brazil, and I was like, because there was the IFBB amateur. Then now it's split.
Right.
Now it's different in Brazil, but at that time was like almost impossible for the Brazilians to become pros. Was like one pro a year in Brazil. Yes. So I went to Brazil to compete, and they made everything hard for me. I went for the check-ins, and they like, oh, where's your bikini? And I'm like, I put on my bikini, and they're like, you can't compete with that bikini. I'm like, why? It's too small. I'm like, oh, but this is the bikini I was competing in US with the NPC. NPC is one thing. He's another thing. I'm like, oh, okay. So I had to compete with my old bikini, like the oldest, because I always bring like old, you know, like more bikinis just in case.
Yeah.
But I was like, well, what about this one? Okay, that one you can. It's still a little small, but you can. I'm like, wow. And I saw the other girls, they were all like small, and I was like, I'm like, my bikini is not different, but I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna complain. I don't know anybody here, you know.
Yeah.
So, and then I put, where's your shoes? I put the shoes. You cannot compete with those heels. I'm like, why? It's too high. It needs to be like this and this. I'm like, oh my God, but this is the shoes I always wear. Go to the shop and buy another one. Buy a regular shoes. I'm like, oh my God, in my country, you know, I was a little like, wow, you know, I didn't expect that. But, and then I put like my old heels, and they're like, okay, that one you can. Yeah. So I was competing in my country for the first time. Yeah. With my old bikini, with my old heels. Yeah. I didn't have time to do my makeup. Like just started, and then they call like, hey, your class is lining up. I'm like, wow. I went on stage and I still got third place. Wow. So I was like, wow, okay, I still got third place. And they said, you come to Brazil, you don't even need to win. You just need to compete, because we can have in the records that you competed like for Brazil, you know. Right. And I placed top 3. It was great, you know. So when I came back, I was happy, you know. I was like, okay, it wasn't, you know, like a really good experience, but at least I placed well. And now I'm going to get my pro card. Okay, all right, fine. So I mailed them, and I was like, okay, so it was great, you know, like great experience, you know, competing in Brazil. And I got top 3. You said I didn't need to win. And now, so how do I do to apply for my pro card? They're like, oh, we have to deny your pro card because we thought, you know, like you as Brazilian, when we invite you to come here, we thought you could not come, because I think they thought I was illegal here. I could never leave the country. Yeah. I don't know. I think that's what they thought. Wow. And then they were like, but as we saw that you can come and compete here, you got to start all over again. You got to do the novice, and then you got to do the states. Yeah, yeah. Then if you qualify, you're going to do the national, and then you're going to go to Arnold or the Worlds. And if you win the overall, we're going to give you your pro card. I'm like, after 20 competitions, you want me to start all over again, like 2 years fighting for all those overalls. And I was like, I just translate everything and sent to the NPC. And I got an email from President Emmanuel. President Emmanuel, I'll always be like forever thankful and grateful, because if it wasn't for him, like recognize my hard work, I'll be doing something else today, you know? So he was like, no, this is not right. You are a pro already. You know, this is not right that you keep competing with the amateurs, because your level is already so high, and you proved that you deserve it. He told me that, and I was like, wow. He's like, okay, just take it easy. And I was like, for 2 weeks, I was like, oh, I don't know, I'm not going to get it, you know, but at least I know I did my all. I did my all. Right. Like, there's nothing else that I can do. Everything that I could do, I did. And then after 2 weeks, he sent me an email with to fill it up, like the pro card application. Wow. And I was like, oh my God, he spoke to, to all the people in Brazil, and they decide to, to give me my pro card. But when I received my pro card, I saw that I was representing USA.
Yeah.
So even though I'm not American citizen, like I was able to represent USA because they recognize my hard work.
Yeah, I mean, there's a very similar story. I remember Lee Priest won the Mr. Australia 3 times, and they wouldn't give him a pro card. And he went to America and met Jim Mannion, and Jim Mannion made it possible. So, he recognizes the best talent and people that work hard and deserve it. But, that's part of why the IFBB and the IFBB Amateur split, because they played games with athletes for years and years like that. So many stories like the one you just told. I've heard so many sad stories.
Yeah, that's why President Emmanuel decided to split, because he was seeing that, like the opportunity that the Americans was having.
Yeah.
The rest of the world, was like almost impossible. So many people with great talent was competing and then just stopped because how I'm going to have future doing this, because it's impossible for me to become a pro. So he was like, you know what, we got to change this. And my story, I know other Brazilians, that live here now, that he did the same thing for them. And he was like, I can't just keep giving everybody the opportunity here. What about the people that live in Brazil? What about the people that live in Australia? The rest of the world, they're all getting no chance, in the industry. So that's, I think was the best thing for the industry when they split. And now in Brazil, it's so different. They have opportunities. We have pros, more pros all the time. So Brazil is stepping up the game. Not just Brazil, I mean, worldwide now, with the NPC worldwide.
Yeah.
So the whole world is having the same opportunities. So it's amazing.
I'm glad you told that story, because it was bothering me that I couldn't figure out how you turn pro. I was going through all different websites and looking at your contest history, and it was NPC, 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 and then it just jumped right to the IFBB shows. I said, where did she turn pro? What am I missing here? So thank you for finally. I bet a lot of people were, I don't know if anybody really wondered. Clearly you deserve to be a pro. You became the Olympia champion twice, but it was just a mystery. So thanks for clearing that up. One thing you just touched on, a lot of the very best female competitors in this industry now, bikini, figure, fitness, women's physique, they come from Brazil. Do you think there's something about Brazil? Do you guys just have better genetics, a stronger, the fitness is more popular? Why are so many great female athletes, competitors now in the IFBB from Brazil?
I think genetics too, because we have good genetics for muscle. I feel that in not only in Brazil but in South America. And but I think the most important is because we start fitness very young in Brazil, because we watch all the fit people, on TV all the time, and the beats, everybody looks great. So even though we don't start the fitness journey, think about competing, we start training and getting the muscle maturity, very young. Yeah. So when we decide to start competing, the body's kind of halfway there, because we've been doing that for so long. So I think that's what happened, that's what helps with the Brazilians.
So let's jump ahead to your pro career. You would assume somebody who's going to be the Olympia champion would do very, very well at the Olympia right away. But your very first year in the Olympia, 2015, there were 32 women up there, and you placed 31st, second to last.
Oh, 31st, right? Yeah.
I mean, who would?
I always say 16, but after 16, everybody's 16.
Usually, but this is the only show I ever saw where they actually gave everybody a place all the way down.
Oh, wow, yeah. I didn't even know that I was 31st.
Yes.
I just found out.
Okay,
no, I knew I was 16, but after 16, everybody's 16, Yeah. And, but yeah, what was your question?
Oh, my question is, I mean, you made an amazing progress, because that was 2015, and 1 year later, you took second place out of 42 women. It was an even bigger lineup. So you must have made some serious changes in that year, to see what they wanted, what they were looking for. Yeah, what did you change? Because you saw what they were looking for, and you gave them what they were looking for.
Yeah, I changed my way of training. I changed my way of doing cardio, my diet. I changed my bikini color that, you know, they didn't like because it was a light green.
Yeah.
You know, I was so pale on stage. So I came up with my color now, you know, like with the purple blue, and never change anymore. And, you know, I step up on my makeup game, my hair. I thought about every detail. After the Olympia, because, you know, like, I love this sport so much. And I knew, you know, like, since the beginning that this is what I want for my life. So after the Olympia, I was like, wow, maybe this is not for me. You know, when it start coming to your mind, like, wow, 16, you know, like, and now I figured out, like, 31st.
Yeah,
you
you're
know?
terrible, but then you became awesome.
Yes, I know. And I was like, maybe this is not for me. And I was like, you know what was wrong? And I almost like decided to stop because my goal was to turn pro and then see how I do. If I did well, I'll keep, you know, going. If I didn't do, because I knew how tough was the pro level.
Yeah.
And then I played 16. I was kind of like, oh, maybe, you know, like I turned pro, but maybe the pro level is not for me. And I know a lot of people can relate to that because it's not easy, you know. But I was like, you know what? I'm not going to give up like this. I'm going to put my invite for the Arnold. If they invite me, it's because I'm not supposed to stop. So, you know, in my mind, I was like, oh, they have to invite me. If not, I'll take a break, you know, because competing will always be there, you know. I'll take a break, like think about like having a baby or something, you know. Look at that.
Sure.
And I was like, if I don't get invited, maybe it's time to focus on my family and, you know, just like do this and then be back on stage later, you know. The stage always going to be there. Yeah. But I was like, in my mind, I was like, I need to be invited. I need to be invited. But and then I put the invite, and I thought I would have a response right away. I didn't know how it works, like that they put the list like just like the last week of December. I didn't know. I thought like I would send the letter, and then they would see and like respond me like, hey, yeah, okay, you know, like we want you in the show. And then I had no response, like for 1 week, for 2 weeks. I was like, yeah, they're not going to invite me. Oh, my God. So I went deep on my off season. I was like, oh, relax a little bit, you know, relax, live the life a little bit. So I was enjoying with my husband going out and kind of like giving my body a break, not training. I was like, you know what, just relax. And then I was like in the gym, like doing, you know, with my client, like personal training. And then my phone started like, beep, 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 beep. I'm like, what's going on? I'm like, wow. I'm like, no, I don't look at my phone when I'm working. And then when I finished the session, like so many messages, you know, like all the bikini pros that competed with me, like at the Olympia and you know, at the shows before I got qualified for the Olympia. And some of my friends, you know, that was still trying to become a pro. They're like, Angelica, did you see the list? Did you see the list? I'm like, oh my God, what list? You invited for the Arnold. I'm like, oh my God, I didn't even know that list was going to come out, you know. Wow. And then I was like, hold on, where's this list? And then I went and I saw online, you know, like NPC News posted, Arnold Sports posted. I'm like, oh my God, it's so real. Oh my God, I'm going to compete in the Arnold. Because 1 year before I was there watching, and I was like, I want to be on that stage. And I wasn't even a pro. And I was like, no matter what, I want to be on the stage, you know. I say that for the Olympia and for the Arnold. And then it was all coming true. I was like, wow, I'm invited. And then I looked to myself, I'm like, oh my God, I'm so fluffy.
I mean, how much weight could you have really gained, like, honestly, since you had competed?
I tried to put on most like 10 pounds.
Okay.
But I think at that time, I'll be like a little over, maybe 13 pounds over. Okay. No yeah, not too bad, not too bad. Yeah. But it's still, you know, because when the list comes out, because everybody that applies, they already know that the list is going to come out later. So they start getting ready, kind of like getting ready, you know, before. Right. But I didn't know. Like, and then when the list came out, I think I had like 10 weeks. And I was like, oh my God, I have only 10 weeks now. Oh my God, what am I going to do? And then I was just like killing my prep. And then I changed for the Arnold. I decided like, you know what? So let's see what went wrong with the Olympia. And let's not do, you know, the same mistakes again, you know. Yeah. And I can say probably that I was eating not enough for the Olympia. I wasn't eating enough, and I was doing like a lot more cardio than I should be doing, and also all the details of makeup, hair, you know, everything. So I was like, okay, that's what we're gonna change. So I started with Kimuro, my coach Kimuro,
Yeah.
and he changed everything for me. He was like, no, let's do this way and this way. And when I start with him, I start my prep like first like by myself, and then when it was 6 weeks out, I'm like, no, I need someone's guidance. So I went for him like and asked for his help, and it was 6 weeks out. Wow. It was like, wow, we have just, you know, short time. But because my problem was that I was always so shredded on stage, and 6 weeks out, I was already looking at me and like, hey, I see I'm gonna look shredded again, you know. So there's something that, you know, is missing here. I need someone's guidance.
So you were too lean. You were too lean. You couldn't. I mean, that's like the opposite problem that most, you know, bodybuilders have. They're never lean enough usually, but you were too lean for bikini.
Yes, I was too lean, a little too hard for bikini. So that was the feedback for the Olympia. That was a little too hard, and I didn't want to be honest. I didn't like my shape. I didn't like my body. You know, like you know when you feel good, like before the show, and you feel like, okay, I look great. Yeah. I didn't like it. I felt that I was too lean, too hard, you know. And I wanted to look a little more curvy, you know, and a little more feminine. And I was like, yeah, you know, I wasn't happy. So like, you know what? Doesn't matter how I do at the Arnold. I want to be happy with my body. You know, I want to look at me, you know, in the mirror and say like, oh, wow, you know, be proud and really enjoy the shape. Yeah. So once I started with Kimuro, he changed a lot. He lowered my cardio. He you know, he changed my training. You know, I was overtraining. I was doing like 2 hours of workouts, you know, plus cardio, you know. And then he changed it to like 1 hour. And for me, it was like, oh my God, this is so easy. Oh my God, I don't know if it's gonna work. It's too easy. And I never looked so good. When I came on stage for the Arnold, everybody was like, wow, you know, and I felt good. Like before the show, I look in the mirror and I was like, wow, you know, no matter what happens, I'm so happy, you know, I'm so happy. And then I placed fourth on the Arnold after coming from 16th place at the Olympia. Yeah. I broke that top 5 and I got 4th place. I was like, wow, what just happened, you know? So that's when I knew, I'm like, hey, Angelica, you're not supposed to stop. This is your life, you know, this is your life.
So you almost retired. You almost retired.
I almost did, yes, wow. I almost did. That's why I say don't give up. You know, the moment you're about to quit can be the moment something amazing is about to happen. So imagine if I quit. I almost did. But something in my mind was like, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. I know you have future. You know, I know you're supposed to keep going. Something in my mind was always telling me that, because you know how it is. Like I always had people coming to me like, why are you doing this? Yeah. Why are you doing this? Are you making money? Right. I'm like, no, it's not about money. And Ron, it's still not about money for me. You know, like it's not like money comes because as you get successful, you know, as you not successful, as you get like value doing what you do, the money will come, success will come. But I never chase money or success, you know. I always wanted to have value, you know. So something in my mind was like, you know, you can be very, very valuable doing what you do because you really love it, you know. So once I start competing and doing well, and I thought that I could send that message, you know, like to all the other people that, hey, fight for your dreams. This is possible. Because I came from Brazil. Like, you know, like I came from Brazil. I got here, I had no English, like couldn't speak a word, you know. I learned English and I had all these struggles. And then I started competing. It wasn't easy. It was a journey to get my pro card. And you know, like I know so many people, they start competing and then they do 1, 2, 3 shows for it. They're like, oh, you know what? I'm going to give up. Yeah. So I was like, you know what? I'm here to send this message that it's not supposed to be easy. You know, like more you fight for what you want, you know, better will be when you get it, you know? Yeah. And I was like, you know, this, I'm here to send a message to everybody like, hey, don't give up, keep going. And because if you really, you know, want something really bad, keep fighting, keep fighting, keep fighting. you're going to get like one step closer, two steps closer. Sometimes you get a step back and you're like, oh my God, keep going, you know, 3 more steps and you're going to get there. So that's what I did. I kept going, kept going, kept going. And here I am.
So you had, you know, it wasn't an easy road for you. You did all those shows. It was very difficult for you to turn pro. You had to jump through hoops, go back to Brazil, and you went through all that. And especially when you didn't do very well at your first Olympia. So by the time you get to your third Olympia in 2017, you win the whole thing. You know, what was it like for you to have the top title in the world, especially knowing that you worked so long and so hard to get there? It was a long journey for you.
Wow. I even I get emotional till now, you know, like think about that. Because I remember, you know, like staying on the side, like waiting for them to call the champion. Yeah. And it came to my mind, my first Olympia, when I just stayed there forever, you know, like stay, first call out, second call out, third call out. And everything that I've been through, you know, like all the no's that I had, all the bumps on the road, you know, like everything, just standing there at that moment, like waiting, like when they start calling like 5th place, 4th place, a movie came to my mind, like, you know, in just a few seconds. I look at everybody, all those lights, the judges, and all, you know, that people, and I was like, oh my God, you know, like it's gonna happen. I'm like, I'm gonna be the champion or not? And all the movie, you know, came in my mind, everything that I've been through, and everything like, wow, you didn't give up, you know. In my mind was like, wow, great job, Angelica, you didn't give up, and look where you are now. You know, I was just so proud of myself, you know. Yeah. And just like remembering like all the times that I was like, for, you know, like you feel a little when you stay, like, you know, the call outs and you're standing there, it's like they forgot about you, you know. Right. And that feeling came like, wow, you know, just like 2 years ago, you were here like just waiting for the last call out. Yeah. And now you're here waiting to maybe be the champion, you know. Right. I started crying before and I was like, wow, this is my dream right here. So when they called my name, I was like, thank you, God, thank you, like, thank IFBB Pro League, NPC for this amazing journey. I was just like, so my heart was like exploding. Wow. I don't even remember what I said to, you know, in the interview. I was like, oh my God.
So you've been competing for most of the time that bikini has existed as a division in the NPC and IFBB. What changes have you seen in the way it's judged or the way the physiques have changed in just these past 6, 7, 8 years?
Oh, I see, like when I see the pictures of the pros, you know, in 2010, yeah. The difference, like the Olympia champion, you know, Gonzalez, right? Yeah. Like such a difference on the body. Like it was softer. It was like not all this definition, not all so much definition. I think we're evolving, you know, and getting a little more muscular for sure. But I think like with me, that's what they at least that's my feedback. They like, Angelica, you know, I know the sport is evolving and everybody's getting, you know, like more quality of muscle because they're training, you know, longer. It happens. But like they like my look because I keep like consistent. And it's even though it's, you know, I have muscle, but it's still feminine, it's curvy, and it's more natural, you know. So that's the feedback. Like they want to keep bikini, they don't want bikini to go too over, and then they can, you know, they'll be like a little out of hand. Well,
so then it's figure basically if it goes too much more.
Yeah. So you know that's what they say. Because it changed for sure. Because for me it was a little because it was just started. It was a little too soft back then. Yeah. You know, I like more the look right now.
Well, but now you guys now look like you work out. I want to say 9 years ago, they didn't really look like they lifted weights. It looked like maybe they did aerobics or something, you know?
Yeah. It was more like you know, aerobics and kind of like more a beach body. Right. Someone that don't really train, and then they train for 2-3 months and they ready, you know? Right. But now we really got to work harder for sure. But they like, you know, like they always give the feedback like, let's keep bikini, you know, to a place that is still feminine, you know, it's still achievable, because bikini it's achievable look. Like, you know, they look at me, it's like they see like, oh, gotta work hard to get there, but it's possible, you know, like we can get there, like if you really work hard. So bikini now is there, like it's a little more muscular for sure, a little more definition, you know, not even a little more muscle, but more definition, you know, we gotta have a little more definition, but keep feminine and curvy and fun and healthy. I think that's the word, like healthy.
Healthy, yeah. So
Yeah.
I believe you have 12 pro wins now, is that right?
That's right,
12.
yes.
And you've always done multiple shows per season. Is this the first year that you're only focusing on the Olympia?
Yes, this is the first year. This is my longer off season ever. It feels, you know, I was like, oh my God, how's it gonna be? You know, like to like just watching the whole year and off season the whole year. You know, I was kind of like worrying about like how my body was gonna react, like if I was gonna gain a lot of weight because, you know, like the whole year, you know, like not competing. But I kind of like it, you know, like I think my body needed a break, and sometimes it's good for the body. I think when I start my prep, it's going to be like better, and my body going to respond like faster and better because, you know, like it's good. It's nice after, you know, everything like 2015, 11 shows, 2016, I did so many shows too, 2017, I did 4. And so doing the Arnold and the Olympia is like we just have actually 3 months of season, you know, because and then it's time to start prepping again. And, you know, it's not enough break, to be honest. So now I feel that I really gave like a nice and good break to my body, you know. So I feel refreshed. I feel like ready. I'm like excited to start my prep. Like, okay, I enjoy everything, you know. Now it's just like be 100% focused. Yeah.
So, last question. How did you become part of GAT Sports? And what do you like about the company GAT?
So GAT was always like, you know, like fan of GAT. Sadiq, you know, he's my friend. So he always represent the brand so, you know, like so good. And I always watch it and I was like, oh my God, you know, like it's a company. I tried the supplements before. I was like, this is a company that, you know, I would trust and I would be proud to represent. So, but I didn't apply or anything. I was just like waiting because I didn't want to apply for any company. So I was competing, and after I won my first Arnold, that's when I got a manager. But he said, let's not apply for anything. Let's let the companies come to you. And I had a few offers. But I was like waiting for the right one that I would be like proud to represent. And after the Arnold Australia, I passed by the booth and I stopped to talk to Janet, you know, because we competed together in Australia. And then the president, he's not there, he's not in the company anymore, but his wife came like, oh my God, I'm such a huge fan. She's Brazilian too. Like, I'm such a huge fan. I always told my husband that we gotta have you in the company. And I was like, oh my God, I love GAT. I was like, wow, yes. I'm like, oh, let's talk. And then he contacted my manager and they start talking and they send me products and I love everything. And then after, like, it took a little while, maybe like 4 months of talking here and there. And then they got, you know, like we got a deal and I signed with them. And it was like another dream coming true because today it's not easy to have like a good sponsorship and, you know, like a good company, you know, to support you. And GAT is just like amazing. They are amazing. They support my journey in everything I do. They send me everywhere in the world. Like I'm traveling the world with them. And this is like amazing because I have the chance to connect to all the competitors, like everywhere I go, you know, like all the expos. And I have the opportunity, you know, like to be connected to my fans. So this has been like amazing. I'm very thankful for having GAT in my journey.
They're clearly very supportive of Pro Bikini because they have you, they have Jan Lyug, and now they have the young rising star from Canada, Laura Lee Chapato. So they're making great choices with athletes, absolutely.
Yeah, the top 3 in the world, yes.
Exactly. Yeah, you're right. You are the top 3 in the world. So, yeah, and we're going to see those top 3 battle it in 6 months in Las Vegas.
That's right.
It's going to be very exciting.
Yeah, I'm so excited.
Angelica, thank you so much. You've been so generous with your time, and you told us things you've never said in any other interview before. I appreciate that. because we got some brand new information from
Yes.
that we never
Very
had before.
personal. Yes.
That's great. So I want to wish you luck. And how can people follow you on Instagram? And is it Angelica T?
Angelica HT.
Angelica HT.
Yes.
Okay.
And on Facebook, Angelica Teixeira. I don't really use Facebook that much anymore. It's more like Instagram, and also on YouTube. Like when I start my prep, I start doing, like, the road to the Olympia, the road to the Arnold that I did before, and now I did the road to the Olympia, and I'm gonna do it again for sure. So you can follow me on YouTube also, Angelica Teixeira.
Okay.
And yeah, I'm very thankful for all the support I have been, like through Instagram, through YouTube, the response and the support from everybody that follows me has been like amazing. They don't know, but that's what really motivates me. The support, the message, like, it's my fuel. So thank you so much, everybody that follows me, that supports me.
Cool. Well, thank you, Angelica, for the interview.
Thank you, Ron.
Thank everybody out there for watching. This has been the Ronline Report with your two-time reigning Bikini Olympia champion, Angelica Teixeira.
Thank you.